Hi guys, I'm Shmi, hello and welcome back to the channel where you join me today at the Slovakiaring for something incredibly exciting, a first look and a first drive in this, the brand new Praga Bohema. Now this is a road car, I'm going to emphasize that again, a street legal car that weighs under 1,000 kilos, has 700 brake horsepower from the 3.8 litre twin turbocharged V6 and has some extraordinary headline facts and figures. We're going to be taking a full look around the new Bohema to go through all of the details, the aero, the design, run through a bit of Praga's history and what has brought them to this point, introducing a road car limited to 89 units. Then of course I'll be driving it here on the racetrack where you can hear cars blasting around in the background, and in particular you can hear a car being driven by Romain Grosjean, and I think later on I'm going to be able to jump into the passenger seat with Romain to experience it that way, also having been out onto the road just before. So let's do this, a full first look at the new Praga Bohema. About to come past us then is Romain in the Bohema. We're going to be experiencing that very shortly, but for the moment, let's head over to this car right here in the pit lane and go and have a full walk around. Just look at these crazy cars as Romain comes back into the pit lane in the white example, but that sounded amazing, but let's have a full look at this. Here then, parked up in the pit lane at the Slovakiaring. My first time actually out here, my first time driving on the circuit. But before we get out onto track, we need to have a full look around this to go through the details of Praga's full production road car. And I'm sorry to say it again, but look at this thing. You expect this to be purely for the racetrack, but it is going to be a production road car. As we walk around, it's all of these cutaways with the aerodynamics, the wings, for example, even for the mirror arms, the way you can see straight through so much of the bodywork, the negative space, this wraparound spoiler fixed over the top of the whole rear deck. We're going to be talking about every element of this today, and in particular also checking out the interior, which is really quite a sense of drama, as you'll find out in just a moment. But this is Praga bringing to life a production road car, something they did a bit of a study with about 5 or 6 years ago with the R1R, taking their R1 race car, which has been in service for around a decade, and building a road variant. This is now the production follow-up, we could say, with the Bohema, named after the region of Bohemia, Praga being from the Czech Republic, hence Prague, Praga, but also quite a fun story behind the 89 units, which is that 89 years ago, this being the 89th anniversary, Praga were kicked out of the 1,000-mile run of Czechoslovakia, the run that went from the western point of the Czech Republic across to the eastern point of Slovakia, because they were too dominant. So they've now launched this. Their history actually goes all the way back to 1907, and along the way they've been responsible for cars, trucks, bikes, planes. The factory was destroyed in the Second World War, and 1947 was the end of them producing road cars until effectively the arrival of this. What we're looking at here then is a car with a production target weight of 975 kilos, under a ton. To put that into perspective, it is 200 kilos lighter than the McLaren Senna. It is almost 500 kilos lighter than the believed weight of the Aston Martin Valkyrie, very much subscribing to the theory that performance comes from keeping it lightweight. A remarkable feat to have achieved that. Now it's powered by the mid-engined 3.8 litre twin turbocharged V6 that is sourced via an informal relationship with Nismo, so the familiar power plant from the Nissan R35 GTR, with some bespoke configuration and components to produce 700 brake horsepower. That power to weight is really quite something. Now you've got a 6-speed Hewland gearbox, which I'm going to experience both in anger on the track, but also out on the road as well, because a big element of this is to create something that wears plates, not necessarily all about top speed, but about creating full experience and a car that is going to be very, very fast on the racetrack. The result is a car that on its semi-slick road tyres, we've got the Pirelli Trofeo Rs at the moment, it will likely match lap times of GT3 race cars on slicks. Think about that for a moment. This is going to be obliterating lap records. Now I want to head more to the interior, but before we do, look at the shapes, that teardrop style for the cabin, all of these exposed elements for the suspension and control arms. I mentioned briefly this wing, this single piece for the door mirror, which literally is a spoiler, you could say, along the side of the car, directing the airflow. At the front, the big splitter hangs down from those points either side beneath the headlights. As we come round as well towards the rear, you've got those remarkable shapes and the opening across that very, very low rear deck. But look inside, it's a two-seat road car with very much race car LMP1 style doors, we can say. You press the button just here, it releases, you lift that forwards to reveal the carbon monocoque with the details and everything they've added inside here. Of course, we've got the harnesses, we've got the bespoke steering wheel created for this car. There are a lot of other clever details to take a look at as Romain keeps blasting past, certainly enjoying the sounds. You effectively have to sit on here, swivel your legs in, and then slide on down with your feet extended out towards the front. But they've done some really interesting stuff to make sure that there's as much space as possible for the driver and the passenger. Now, not only that, but there are also some storage buckets that I'd like to show you as well. To access these, there is a push button just inside here. Hit the button, this releases, and we can lift it up to reveal those storage areas. Now there's fitted luggage available. You can fit your helmet in here, one on either side of the car. Perfectly usable to be able to take this car to the track or to be able to drive it on the road. There's a lot of emphasis being put on how usable the car is as a road car. So I'm looking forward to that experience a little bit later on. So firstly, I think it's time for me to go and get ready to be prepared to hop into one of these to go find out what it's like. It's time then, with the white car just here, the prototype car. Let me take a step inside, and the way effectively you do this is sit on the sill, feet in, and then you kind of swing yourself in and lower yourself down into the carbon fiber monocoque, where in here, this is where you move your pedals. You do have some adjustability with the seat. Of course, you can move the steering column, pop this into place with the quick release latch that you have on the back of it. That goes in just like that. Make sure it's in. Then it'd be a case of firing it up and out we go. Belted up, fully instructed. So close the door where you close that down. Make sure it's properly closed. Then press of ignition, we're on. Press and hold the start. There we go. So this all feels pretty comfortable to me. Into gear, ready to roll on out, and off we go. So, my first experience driving the Praga Bohema here at the Slovakiaring. Gosh, this seating position is nuts. The view that I have, I can see inside the front wheels. This view is so cool. It's obviously very, very loud in here, and I'm going to take it fairly easy. Oh, I like the response on the brakes. I'm going to take it fairly easy just while I learn the lay of the land here at the Slovakiaring. Wow. Gently on the power, over some of these blind crests. I love a sequential gearbox. The feel that you get, the shove in the back, the emotion, the smack from it. I mean, that's 200 kilometers an hour as we go over the crest here. I've got to learn this circuit, and I don't entirely know where I'm going at this stage. But I think the idea with this car is that you leave with a massive smile on your face. And that's obviously the idea for me to try and experience now, and to see how it makes me feel. As we warm into it. We're going to have the fast laps with Romain in a bit. For now, it's just see how it is. Wait for the late apex here. I did a sighting lap with Josef, Praga's test driver, before. And there's an R1R out as well at the moment, so I need to be very conscious does actually have air conditioning, but it's not on at the moment. My word. I tell you what, I'm amazed at how quickly I can drive this car here. A track that I've never driven before. It's quite blind, like going over the crest here with a slight right and having to learn exactly where it all goes, but doing so at the same time in a completely unfamiliar car for me, a completely unfamiliar setup in every possible way. And the way that it's so planted, turns in so well here, just epic. So good. It's ridiculously loud in here. I can see what this is going for, and I can't quite see how this is a road car, but I love that it is. I absolutely love that this is somehow a car you can drive on the road and then come here with and do that. Yeah. We return then back into the pit lane. There we go, to a stop. Oh, my word. Right, time to get some air, press the button, open the door, have a breather. I've just stepped out from driving this to reflect a moment. I'm very, very sweaty, really hot. For somebody who's not particularly fit like myself, that is quite the workout. But the most impressive thing is when you do small inputs, whether that's steering or whether that's throttle and brake, is how you can feel that aero, how you can feel the car giving you instant feedback. And that's something you know from GTE, GT3 race cars. But to experience that in a road car, remember this is a road car, and it does that, it's not a very familiar or normal sensation. They're obviously refueling it because I might be able to go out for a couple more laps, but yeah, time to grab some sugary drink, I think, because the speed this carries around the track is seriously incredible. I am back in the car, this time with Josef. How are you doing?
Great, hi.
You are the man responsible for test driving these.
Yes, and I'm enjoying it a lot, I have to say.
I can imagine, but we're going to take it out on the road. So, I guess, should we get it started up?
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
I'm ready for rock and roll.
Sounds good. So, given it's a road car, time for a bit of a passenger experience to see what this feels like. Just to take in a little bit more about it. And it's really interesting how all of this is shaped with our elbows at different heights, mine below yours.
Yeah, it's great that we can fit both arms here, because usually in a road car you have lots of space, but as this is a kind of a spaceship, we are very limited on the weight, so we really counted every millimeter, and in the end you can see we are next to each other. Okay, it's quite close, which is kind of quite uncommon, but it's still comfortable for both of us.
I think there's a little bit more room inside than you expect. Now, the view here is just phenomenal. Looking out into the wheel wells, seeing those wheels and tyres, the view in the mirrors, the cutaways, looking underneath the rear wing. This is quite, it's quite mega big. I love that you're smiling so much still.
I smile always. When I drive this car, it's really something what really you can really enjoy even as a racing driver, which is something special, because usually you cannot drive the race car on the road.
Yep.
So once you take the race car to the road, it happens very rarely. But once you do it, you have fun. And now this is legal, and that's unbelievable, because you are legally driving race car on a road. So that's why I'm always smiling like this. Even when we do short test drives or even long ones, I'm still enjoying it.
I mean, there's no denying that even on a normal road setting, you feel like you're driving in something that's really quite special. You know, this is not a normal experience. And I think that's part of it, isn't it? It's the theatre. Even climbing into the car is theatre, it's drama.
It is drama, it's theatre, but it's also performance oriented.
Yeah.
Because without that, was a big hole, but still we survived. It's still, even though that it looks like that in many ways people and manufacturers try to make the theatre, and it's not very useful, it just looks good. But I have to say that on this car, everything what basically probably let's say looks good is performance oriented, and it was always some kind of a thinking. What we had was, okay, let's make it very nice, very beautiful, but very light, and useful.
Even as we cross a railway crossing, it's not too bad. It's a cool sound. The open roads and a good opportunity to just enjoy, and I guess you can now see my view, and or rather the view back in this direction. There's plenty of headroom, you know, there's a load of space. A lot of companies, I think, fall foul of remembering that you need to have room for a helmet above you. You know, you need to have the space up here.
Yeah, that's one thing what we were thinking about, and still, as this is a prototype, it will be improved for the next one, that we will have even more room for the head and for basically for better feeling of the body, because in the end, to be honest, the place which is reading what you're doing, where you're getting the feedback, is your bottom.
Yeah.
And still the position what we are sitting now can be a little bit better. So for the real car, the production car, the bottom will be a little bit shifted back, so you will get more precise feedback, and because of that you also get more headroom and overall more room for operating the steering wheel, and to be also more comfortable when you drive it on the road.
Yeah. Well, we return back to the Slovakiaring. Squeeze on through. This has been quite the experience on the road. Very, very unusual sensation. So thank you for this run, and I guess all the best with the completion of the finer details, getting everything ready for full production.
Thank you very much. I believe that next time when you see it, you will be, I hope, even more impressed. I hope that you are impressed, but I hope that
Even more.
even more.
I look
yeah.
forward to it. It rolls back in. I think in a moment it's going to be time for me to hop in with Romain to experience the passenger seat of the Bohemia, to take in a little bit more and have a wild ride. Well, this is fun. How are you doing?
Good, yourself?
Very good. Very much looking forward to experiencing this in anger. You've had a few drives today.
Yeah, both discovered the track, discovered the car, so we should be set to go for a good lap.
Perfect. And it's beautiful light at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So, I need to just make sure all my belts are done up as tightly as they can.
Yeah, let's make sure doors are closed.
Yeah. Alright. Keep my elbow out of the way.
Yeah.
Nice chill drive, right? Wow.
Why not?
It's a nice view.
Yeah, it's good sunset.
Beautiful
That's, you know.
So what do we do now?
We're good to go. Okay.
Do we go back to the pits or do we do another lap?
We do another lap. Just, you know, we can't finish
No
like
drifting.
This.
Well, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like being a road car.
Yes, that's it. Nice little drift ahead, it's a race car. Tell me, for someone who's used to driving very, very, very fast single seats, what's this like?
A racing car.
It's a race car for you too. It's like
there's the steering wheel, the way it behaves, the way it's settled into high-speed corners, the way it brakes. You carry the brake to the apex to get it rotated, and you go on throttle. You know, it's the number of horsepower. It's not crazy high. But you can't go full throttle. You have to gently, you know, do it like you would do on a racing car because that's the way the car works.
Yeah.
And I mean, no, you tell me you can just drive off the circuit and go on the road. And I want to tell you, there's no way. Yeah, and yes, you can. This is a road car. We could be driving home, stopping for a goulash or some local, you know, Wiener Schnitzel up in Vienna, and head home. And we would be legal.
It's crazy. That's absolutely great. Well, that opened my eyes a little bit more as well. Just upping the ante. Obviously, I took it easy, and I
I tried to spin for you. I was a nice guy, you know, giving you an idea what it's like.
But wow.
Well, do they want us to go straight to garage?
That was really cool. Thank you very much.
Hey, that could be our garage back home. You arrive. Thanks, darling. Is dinner ready? And I mean, it's amazing. I'm really impressed, honestly.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Make sure you don't say you had a spin with Grosjean.
Well, that was pretty epic. We are back.
Yeah.
Oh. It's fast. Sunset laps here. Yeah, right. Mega. Now time to do the exit.
You know what? It looks complicated, but I feel like it's actually it's because you can lean on, you can take the roof and then you can lean on the side, but it actually works really well.
So this
it's
is
not
like,
that complicated.
No, this is like the demonstration moment. The kind of slide back, foot up, step to here, swing out, done. Back in the pit garage then with the blue car, and something else to touch on are the wheel options. Now the default is what you see here, the 18-inch wheel at the front and a 19-inch wheel at the rear. That's to fit the road specification, but you can actually have 18-inch wheels all around, including at the rear, to fit pretty much any standard GT3 slick tyre that you'll find at basically any race circuit around the world. So you can literally pop the slick on or have the semi-slick as we have it here on this particular car. There are just so many details to take in, and I really like how this is suspended. You know, there's no support there because obviously you need the clean underside of that wing for the air management going through, and even just to explore through here, you literally can see straight through the car, as you can just make out with the air channeled around that teardrop cabin to house the engine underneath these covers, these removable covers at the back, with the exhaust system presented through that mesh, looking glorious as well out towards the back, whereas I've been told it's popping flames out on track, and then the diffuser and everything that you can see open and exposed through here. Look at all of this, the number of fins and vanes, the shape of everything, obviously all determined by aerodynamic performance, wind tunnel testing, all the openings again of this flat underbody tray, barge boards if you will, of the car, with the air being guided and directed all around. Let's have a look underneath the nose cone up front, and again, see straight through so much of the car, All very, very clever stuff that this is doing. The sounds of the cars blasting by for the night sessions out here at the Slovakiaring with the sun setting. Not a bad day, if I can say so myself. Not a bad day at all. But you know what? That brings us to the end of today. A first full look at the brand new Praga Bohema, plus a drive out on track, experiencing it on the road to see the diversity of what the car is capable of, and of course a couple of quick hot laps with Romain at the end, top off what has been an amazing day here. So yes, a very, very trick piece of kit. Obviously the ultimate in this idea, quite loud with the R1s going around, the ultimate in this idea of a car which you can take to a track day and then drive home. There are going to be 89 cars, cost is 1.28 million euros plus taxes. But for that, you get something that is capable of things no other road car can achieve. That's it for today though. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Appreciate your support as always, and I'll see you again very soon. Cheers.